Tuesday, July 6th, 2021, and this is the Bulletin. The MRT has been losing staff members, with 4 staff leaving the team since May 28th. Moderators Vicky, Tori, and Kyle and administrator Minecraft Yoshi 26 resigned, while another moderator, Unjins, was demoted for inactivity. And that might not be the end, as staff announced at the May ISM that 2 staff members could be demoted for inactivity, but only Unjins has been demoted so far. All 3 of the staff who recently resigned wrote resignation letters citing loss of interest in the server. Minecraft Yoshi 26 cited being more busy with his life and also said his experience on the server was impacted by the events of Modgate last October. Vicky Tori said she lost motivation to work on projects and that the people she related to the most had become less active, citing a, quote, generational shift, unquote, on the server. And Kyle had the most pointed resignation letter of the 3, alleging he had been mistreated as a staff member, saying maturity in the community had declined, and citing his friends leaving the server. Minecraft Yoshi 26 is known for having been the MRT's official events coordinator, and said in his resignation letter that virtually all his recurring events would no longer take place, including the Amazing Race, which Yoshi has run since 2014 and held 11 seasons, the last of which concluded early last October. As the MRT lost staff members, it also gained 2 new staff at last month's GSM. Nita Nanel and Mrs. Solemnis were both promoted at the GSM on June 10th. And while nominations were made, no candidate received enough nominations to be considered for mod at this Saturday's GSM. At the ISM on May 30th, staff teased that they will be reviewing the mod nomination process, and a proposal by Frumple is now on the agenda for the next GSM to broaden the types of evidence that can be submitted for a potential mod candidate. On the day of Kyle's resignation, Frumple stated in Discord that he is committed to renewing the server for another year through 2022, stating, quote, "For as long as there are some people who still want to hang out here, then I'll keep the lights on," unquote. He said that a full announcement will be made on the day of the MRT's 9th anniversary on July 13th, 1 week from today. Frosty Creeper 10 was unbanned after his ban appeal was accepted at an administrative staff meeting on May 30th. He was indefinitely banned as part of Modgate in October for participation in an incident in which an MRT member was doxxed and for egregious harassment towards that member. At last month's GSM, staff enacted a new rule prohibiting the use of any mods, hacks, or items that are, quote, detrimental to the experience of other players, unquote, including causing lag, gaining unfair advantages, and damaging the world or server. The regular season of Major League Spleef's 5th season is almost over, and the Shovelers Cup playoffs will begin on July 17th. We'll have a rundown of the current league standings as we approach the playoffs. And we'll tell you about other recent and upcoming server events, including the MRT Summer Games, the Taco Burrito-a-thon, London's Pub Quiz, and more. That's all coming up today on the Bulletin. Good day, I'm Kitty Cat Woman 231 from MBS News. 4 staff members left the team between May 28th and June 16th, starting with a server veteran. Minecraft Yoshi 26 announced on May 28th that he was stepping down from his position as an admin, having been a staff member since 2012, not counting a year off the staff team between May 2014 and April 2015. In his resignation letter, Yoshi cited 2 main factors in his decision: a lack of availability due to changes in his real-life responsibilities, and waning interest in the server, to which he attributed last October's events of Modgate as a contributing factor, echoing the reasons former administrator Mega Scatterbomb gave for his resignation in March. Yoshi wrote that he has had much less time to spend on the server after his college graduation as he searches for employment, stating, quote, "My time and stress have really been focused on that and, to be blunt, growing up," unquote. He also stated that he did not enjoy the server as much as in the past, citing the events of Modgate in October. He stated, quote, "I'd be lying if I said the events of that day hadn't affected my relationship with the server, but I have actively chosen to move on from that and move on with my life," unquote. While he did comment briefly on the events, saying they were, quote, mishandled on many sides, unquote, he said that he did not want to dwell on the events or hold any grudges, stating, quote, life has moved on for me, and the whole ordeal has become a minor event that I don't think about too often. While yes, it has definitely affected the trajectory of my life, I won't let it drag me down from progressing, growing, and moving on, unquote. Yoshi said that, as well as stepping down from being a staff member, he will be inactive on the server and will no longer be running most events. He said that he is officially canceling almost all of his events, including The Amazing Race, which he has run for 11 seasons since 2014, the most recent one concluding in October. Yoshi said the only event he isn't officially canceling is the MRT Vision Screenshot Contest, stating that since the event is easy to run, he will most likely continue to run it in the future. Prior to his resignation from admin, Yoshi was the MRT's official events coordinator, and is known for his long history on the server hosting recurring events including The Amazing Race, The Mole, Big Brother, and MRT Vision. And although he said he will be inactive from now on, Yoshi did say he will still be contactable on Discord. Yoshi joined the MRT on the day it opened in July 2012 and became a member the day after. He served as a moderator from December 2012 to May 2014 before being re-promoted in April 2015. He became an admin in August 2018. Yoshi is known for being the mayor of several cities on the Old World, including Sandstone Fair and Wishington, and of Idokani and Hummingbird Islands on the New World. He now holds the rank of governor for Idokani and the Hummingbird Islands. Just under 2 weeks after Yoshi's resignation, Vicky Tori announced she was stepping down from her position as a moderator. In her statement, she cited a loss of motivation to work on projects, as well as what she called a, quote, generational shift, unquote, in the server community, stating that people she related to the most had become less active. She also stated that her nocturnal work schedule results in her being online mostly with the server's Asian community, which she said she does not relate to as much. Vicky said that she will no longer work on projects on the MRT, but that she will be keeping her assets. She said that while she will be less active, she will still occasionally come on the server. Vicky noted that her decision to resign was not influenced by Yoshi's resignation a couple weeks prior, saying she was already planning to resign at the time Yoshi announced he was stepping down. She also said the events of Modgate were not a factor in her decision. She said, quote, I personally have no problems with how Frumple runs the server, and I have no hard feelings towards anyone in the community. I make my decisions solely on the basis of my personal life going in a generally different direction, unquote. Vicky has been a member since September 2018 and had been a moderator since April 2019. She is known for being the mayor of the cities of Larkspur and Salina and now holds the rank of premier for Larkspur. And 6 days after Vicky, Kyle announced his resignation from moderator. Departing from the diplomatic tone of Yoshi and Vicky's letters, Kyle's resignation letter was heated, alleging he had been mistreated as a staff member and stating that maturity in the community had declined. He said that the server's demographics and culture had changed and that his friends had left the server, and cited arguments on the server as evidence of immaturity. Kyle said he had endured, quote, verbal abuse from immature community members, unquote, and said server leadership had taken the side of, quote, people who baselessly whine about me, unquote. He cited an email to staff by a member whose name was redacted in his letter, but who Frumple identified as Cyamethyst, having publicly revealed details about the email in February when he vetoed Cyamethyst for mod. In the email, she accused Kyle of, quote, trying to brute force decisions, unquote, and said he, quote, weaponizes his sexuality to get off scot-free with whatever he did wrong, unquote. Kyle claimed that this view was in response to a sarcastic comment of his and for his vote in a city rank promotion batch. Kyle also said in his letter that he had no regrets about certain things he said that previously caused controversy that were brought up in his nomination feedback channel when he was originally nominated for mod, stating, quote, does that mean I basically lied about remorse for my oh-so-tragic actions? Yes, but that's nothing new, unquote. Additionally, Kyle said he was tired of performing requests for members, especially due to a shortage in current moderators, which was another factor in his decision. And at the end of his letter, he expressed a pessimistic outlook on the future of the MRT, ending with, quote, so keep burning, MRT. Keep that lit match upright, because at this pace, there won't be much stick to burn by the end of the year, unquote. Immediately after posting his resignation in the announcements channel, Kyle left the MRT Discord and has not logged onto the MRT since. He also transferred away all his assets on the server to other members. Shortly after Kyle resigned, Frempel said he had received no notice from Kyle prior to his public announcement of his resignation. In a conversation in Discord, Frempel said that he did not have many qualms with Kyle, but that Kyle may have thought otherwise. He said that many of Kyle's points in his letter were based on misconceptions, citing the email by Cyamethyst as a situation Frempel said he thought had been, quote, resolved amicably, unquote. And he criticized Kyle for not communicating his internal feelings, saying he would take Kyle's points more seriously if he, quote, actually made an effort to civilly talk with people and listen to other points of view, unquote. Kyle has been a member since April 2020 and had been a mod since last November. He is known for being the mayor of multiple cities, including Oparia and Encinitas, and now holds the rank of premier for his city, Oparia. Those were the recent resignations, but there was also a staff demotion. On June 12th, Frempel announced that Ungens had been demoted from mod for inactivity. Frempel said Ungens had only logged into the server twice in the 3 months preceding his demotion, and hadn't voted in a city rank promotion batch he was assigned to in over 6 months. Frempel also said he tried to contact Ungens for 2 weeks prior to his demotion, but received no response. Ungens has been a member since the server's second day in 2012 and had been a mod since August 2017. He is known for being the mayor of Miningstone and co-mayor of Syra on the Old World and the mayor of Cornus on the New World, and he now holds the rank of senator for Cornus. Ungens' demotion came 2 weeks after Chief Bozex announced at the May ISM that admins had initiated inactivity proceedings against 2 moderators, and that members should expect possible inactivity demotions in the near future. On the day Ungens was demoted, Frempel confirmed to MBS News that Ungens was one of those 2 mods, leaving one more moderator who could be potentially demoted for inactivity, whose identity we are not aware of. While the MRT has lost several staff members recently, it also gained 2 new staff members at the June GSM. Needon Anel and Missa Solemnis were both promoted to mod. Needon was promoted to mod with 6 votes in favor, 3 neutral votes, and 0 against, while Missa was promoted unanimously with 9 votes in favor and no neutral or against votes. This month's GSM, however, will not include any further mod promotions, as, while nominations were accepted for 3 potential candidates, no candidate received 2 or more nominations. At the May ISM, Chief Bozex announced that staff would be taking feedback over potential changes to evidentiary requirements to make it easier for players to submit mod nominations, and it was teased on the website that staff may consider changes at the July GSM. Some suggestions were debated by members in Discord, including one from Autobus22 to reduce the importance of direct evidence in nominations, and one from Godzilltrain to add a conductor rank as a junior moderator position, sharing its name with a rank that existed once on the Old World as the predecessor to the trusted rank. The proposal that will be considered at the GSM, however, was drafted by Frempel, who proposes broadening the categories of evidence accepted for mod nominees to include what he describes as witness testimony, an alternate form of evidence alongside direct or hard evidence. In other words, staff would accept testimony from members about a candidate for mod, even without direct evidence to prove their claims. Frempel added that while witness testimony could be marred by people misremembering or even lying about certain situations, multiple people corroborating the same story could mitigate the issue. Frempel's proposal will be debated during the public portion of the GSM this Saturday. MBS News will be live at the GSM with full coverage starting at 7 p.m. GMT. Coming up, Frempel announced on the evening of Kyle's resignation that he is committing to renewing the server for another year through 2022. And Frosty Creeper 10 was unbanned 7 months after he was indefinitely banned in October during Modgate. That's ahead after these messages. You're watching The Bulletin on MBS. Welcome back. The server will continue for another year through 2022, Frumple said in Discord on the evening of Kyle's resignation in response to Kyle's statements in his letter about the future of the MRT. In a conversation in Discord, Frumple said, quote, "For as long as there are some people who still want to hang out here, then I'll keep the lights on," unquote. He added that while the server itself will continue, the health of the community depends on factors, including the server's social atmosphere and an effective staff team. Frumple said he was already planning to formally announce the renewal of the server on the day of the MRT's 9th anniversary, 1 week from today on Tuesday, July 13th. And a formal announcement is still expected at that time, so stay with MBS News for more on that on Anniversary Day. Frosty Creeper 10 was unbanned following a decision at an administrative staff meeting on May 29th, which was announced later that day at the ISM. Frosty was indefinitely banned alongside Woorich 999 and Camel Fantasy at the October 2020 GSM as part of Modgate. Frosty, Camel, and Woorich were all members of a Discord server in which an MRT member was doxxed and his personal information used to mock him, taking place between April 2018 and April 2019. Extended logs of the server showed Woorich sending messages allegedly including a member's real name, names of his family members, and photographs of the member, his family, and members of his school, alongside other personal information. And Woorich, Frosty, and Camel were all seen in the logs using the information to mock the member. Aside from the doxing, Frumple-in-Chief cited egregious harassment as a factor in the decision to issue permanent bans, citing incidents uncovered in the logs in which the members allegedly took specific actions to worsen the doxed member's experience on the server, including attempting to influence Frumple to prevent the member from being promoted to senator. For more details on the incidents that led to the bans, see our special edition of the Bulletin from last October, where we covered all the events of Modgate in detail. Frosty and Camel apologized at the time in a prepared statement, stating, quote, "What the two of us did was reprehensible, inexcusable, and was just outright terrible. It was not right then, it is not right now, and it will never be right. We do not defend any of our actions, and before anything, we have to apologize to everyone who was involved," unquote. Frosty himself added, quote, "As I read back through all those messages I sent, my hands lost all feeling, and my body was trembling, scrolling through the disgusting messages I sent back then, thinking of what thoughts must have been going through the minds of the people I talked about as they were reading the same messages," unquote. And he added, quote, "To anyone who has interacted with me in the past 2 years that I mentioned in that chat, I want you to know that any interactions we had were real. I consider so many of you as my friends, and the contents of that chat was not and has never been my real view of you as a person and as a friend," unquote. Frosty, Camel, and Woorich were indefinitely banned in October, and under MRT rules, indefinite bans must last at least 6 months before being appealable, meaning the 3 banned members became eligible to submit appeals in April. Frosty's ban appeal was accepted at the ASM on May 29th, and he was unbanned that day. He held the base member rank under a probationary period for 1 month after being unbanned, before being re-promoted to his original rank of senator for his city, Creeperville. Woolrich 999 and Camel Fantasy still remained banned from the MRT at this time. Last month's GSM was held on Sunday, June 13th, and featured only one significant policy decision. A new rule was adopted prohibiting the use of harmful client mods, hacks, and items. A new rule on the matter was initially proposed for the GSM by Chief Bazex, who proposed prohibiting the importing of any items with attributes not attainable through vanilla Minecraft without staff approval, with certain exceptions to allow for things such as custom player heads and modified horse spawn eggs. Frumple countered Chief's proposal, saying he did not think it would be enforceable and would result in unnecessary work for staff, and proposed a more broad rule as a counter-proposal, which was adopted at the GSM and is now in force as an official rule. The more broadly written rule prohibits any client mods, hacks, or items which would be detrimental to the experience of other players, including by causing lag, giving a player an unfair advantage, or causing damage to the game worlds or to the server. The rule also specifically designates Schematica, Optifine, and Minimap mods as allowed on the server. Major League Spleef's regular season ends this Sunday, and the Shovelers Cup playoffs begin on July 17th. We'll bring you the standings for this season when we get back after the break. That's ahead on the Bulletin. Welcome back. Major League Spleef began its 2021 season on May 14th. MLS Season 5 includes 19 players, not including a few who dropped out mid-season, competing under the banner of their cities for a spot in the Season 5 Shovelers Cup playoffs. Throughout the season, each player has been tasked to compete twice against every other player in the league, to try to rack up as many victories as possible. The regular season ends this Sunday, the 11th, and the top 10 players at that point will go on to the playoffs to determine the season champion. The season is scored by means of a point system. If a player wins within the normal regulation period of the match, they score the maximum possible 3 points for the match. A win in overtime, which players go into if they are tied by the end of regulation, will net 2 points. A draw nets 1 point, and a loss nets no points at all. At the end of the season, the top 10 players with the most points will advance to the Shovelers Cup playoffs. On your screen is the current top 10 MLS players in points for this season. All of our data is accurate as of the morning of Sunday, July 4th, U.S. Eastern Time. If the season ended at the time this data was recorded, these are the players who would be bound for the playoffs. The top rankings include returning favorites who performed well in past MLS seasons and made it to the playoffs. Winterside, in this season's number 9 spot, was a Season 4 semifinalist. At number 8, Crystal City was a low-seed playoff contender in Season 4, making it to the pre-quarterfinals but not managing to secure a quarterfinal spot. At number 7, Aquamarine Bay was a quarterfinalist in the Shovelers Cup playoffs in both Seasons 3 and 4. Sitting at number 5, the city-state of Catania was a semi-finalist in Season 3 and a finalist in Season 4. Utopia, at number 4, was a semi-finalist in Season 1 all the way back in 2017 and didn't return to the league until this season. At number 3, Titsansaki was a newcomer last season, but made it to the Shovelers Cup final and became the champion of MLS Season 4. Titsansaki is Major League Spleef's current defending champion. And at number 2 this season, East End was the league's first champion, winning the Shovelers Cup final in Season 1, and was a semi-finalist in Season 2 and a quarter-finalist in Season 3. But topping the rankings this season is Lapis Bay, which has no prior history in MLS, but sits a few points above East End while having played 4 less games so far. Lapis Bay has been this season's rising star, defeating the defending champion Titsansaki in one of the 2 games of their series. And Lapis Bay has only been defeated in 3 games this season by Titsansaki, Aquamarine Bay, and Millville, out of the 32 games it has played so far. San Ostend and Millville are the other newcomers in the top 10. An important caveat is that with the regular season not having yet officially ended, players who have played more of their games so far will have more points than players who have played less, even if they won a smaller proportion of their games, and the rankings can change as players who have played less start completing more games. To account for games played in ranking relative performance, we can rank players by the percentage of possible points they earned based on the amount of games they played, as opposed to raw points in total. Each game grants a maximum of 3 points, so the maximum possible points is simply the amount of games played by a player multiplied by 3. Ranked by percentages, most of the top 10 stays fairly consistent, except that Aquamarine Bay jumps past San Ostend, the city-state of Catania, and Utopia from 7th to 4th place. Crystal City drops out of the top 10, and Silverville enters the top 10 at number 10. These are the 10 players who would go to the playoffs if, by the end of the season, every player had completed all possible games and maintained the same point percentage. Of course, in most seasons, not all players play all their games, and there's no guarantee that a team's percentage will remain the same as they play more games, possibly against tougher opponents. But it can be an indicator of potential that a team like Silverville, which currently does not meet the points cutoff for the top 10, could still complete more games before the end of the season this Sunday and make it into the playoffs. MBS has been broadcasting select MLS games this season, as has our partner broadcaster MBN. You can find a link in the description with all of the MLS Season 5 broadcast games. And every game in the Shovelers Cup playoffs is planned to be broadcast. MBS, MBN, and High Tech TR's MRT Media Studio will be taking turns broadcasting each series in the playoffs. The Shovelers Cup playoffs begin on Saturday, July 17th. More on other server events when we get back. You're watching The Bulletin. Welcome back. The first of 2 days of the MRT Summer Games, hosted by Frog, finished on the evening of Saturday, July 3rd. Day 1 of the games, hosted in Cape Cambridge, featured boat racing, archery, and sumotori. Alpha DS was the winner of the boat racing and sumotori contests, while 7D won archery. The Summer Games continue this Friday evening at 2 a.m. GMT. The games are being broadcast by our partner broadcasters MBN and High-Tech TR's MRT Media Studio. The 21st Taco Burrito-a-thon recently concluded in Lapis Bay, and the 22nd Taco Burrito-a-thon is coming this month. The Taco Burrito-a-thon is a recurring multi-event sporting competition started in 2013, hosted by Skelly Zomperman, in which players are divided into 2 teams, Team Taco and Team Bacon, who compete to win the most games in the event. The 21st Games in Lapis Bay included 5 events: spleef, sumotori, swimming, American football, and a marathon. Team Taco won spleef, sumotori, and American football, while Team Bacon won swimming and the marathon. With a 3-2 score in the events, Team Taco was the winner of the 21st Taco Burrito-a-thon. The games were broadcast live on MBS on June 25th, and you can find that broadcast on our channel. The 22nd Taco Burrito-a-thon will take place in Sealand on July 18th at 7 p.m. GMT. MBS will be broadcasting those games live as well. The 5th edition of London's Pub Quiz will take place on Saturday, July 24th at 8 p.m. GMT. The recurring event, hosted by London Thames Link, is a simple trivia game in which a pub full of participants is given questions across several rounds, and the person who answers the most questions correctly wins. The most recent edition of the Pub Quiz took place in April in Itamori, and the upcoming quiz will be hosted in Central City at the AdMod building. MBS will be live with the Pub Quiz. The MRT Golf Association hosted its bank holiday tournament on May 29th, which was broadcast live by MBS. John G. was the winner of the tournament, taking place in Winterside. And another MGA tournament is set to take place this weekend. The MGA Anniversary Tournament is scheduled to be hosted at the Central City Golf Center at 7 p.m. GMT this Sunday, July 11th. However, there is a chance the event could be moved by a few days. MBS will be live with the tournament. And Noah Rebel hosted a boat race between the towns of Sanastend and Itavanga on Saturday, June 26th. The race started in Sanastend and had checkpoints on several islands prior to reaching the finish line on Itavanga's Angalofa Island. Player versus player combat was permitted during the race. Alpha DS came in first and was the winner of the event. The race was broadcast live by the Zeta Broadcasting Corporation. And before we go, this month marks 1 year since MBS unveiled its 2020 graphics relaunch. At this time last year, work on our new graphics package was mostly complete, and MBS was preparing the video presentation to reveal the new graphics, which we premiered on July 13th, the day of the MRT's 8th anniversary. The relaunch featured a new official font and a new graphics standard for all kinds of MBS broadcasts, replacing the previous graphics standard introduced in 2018. The new graphics launched in August and are still in use by MBS to this day. And that concludes this edition of The Bulletin. For more news updates, follow us at twitter.com/news_MBS. We'll be live this Saturday at 7 p.m. GMT with full live coverage of the GSM. And we're expecting a formal statement from Frumple on the server's renewal through 2022 on Anniversary Day next Tuesday. MBS News will be live that day with a special report. Stick with MBS throughout this anniversary month as we continue broadcasting server events. And from MBS News in Central City, I'm Kitty Cat 11231. Have a great day and a happy 9th anniversary.